One of the all-time greats, one of my favorite players. I don't know how you guys feel about this player, but I think we're about to find out. I don't know if everyone's seen the news or the IG live video that went up of one Paul Pierce, but my man was having a good time, too good of a time because he ended up losing his job at ESPN. So it's not exactly safe for work. But we've all seen it, so I got to get your guys' thoughts here. Bryce, what are your thoughts on this Paul Pierce video?
Oh man, Paul, how you get fired on your day off, man? I hate to say it, but I had to. Shout out to Paul Pierce, bro, because first of all, I didn't think it was a fireable offense. I've seen a lot of fireable offenses. I've seen a lot of people get fired around me. A couple people got fired in my job not too long ago. And usually when you get fired, it's for something that you do at work, not something that happens outside of the job, unless you're getting arrested for something criminal, unless you're doing something that's just egregious. And I don't think this happened with Paul Pierce. I think my man's enjoying his life. He's at the card game. Fellas, you know how the card games get. Sometimes they get a little litty. Might have a little drink. Might have what do the old heads call it? A little libation. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I ain't mad at Paul. I ain't mad at Paul at all, man. I did peep the one little shorty throwing up the Yakuza gang signs in the background. I was like, what up? What's going on here? But other than that, man, I don't think it was a real reason to fire Paul Pierce. But at the end of the day, we know how those big corporations go. Those big corporations not standing for anything fun, man. ESPN isn't saying anything fun. But I'll tell you one thing. If Stephen A. Smith would have done that, they wouldn't have fired Stephen A. They would have been like, I made my man get on there and say a little apology. But they wasn't going to fire Stephen A. over that same offense. So I think Paul Pierce neck might already been on the chopping block. I don't know how high his Q rating was with ESPN. People was questioning his takes, left and right. I personally always rocked with him on the Countdown show. I thought he was killing it. Thought he gave a different perspective. I think some people didn't like it because he has a pretty elevated view of self. Paul Pierce feels like he was one of the best players in his generation. And rightfully so, because he was one of his best players in his generation. I still go back to that time where they was comparing him to D Wade, and they were and those were just siphoning it, like saying how he really didn't compare when you held the stats. But if you watch the games, ball just as hard in a lot of those head-to-head matchups. So shout out to Paul, man. But at the end of the day, how you get fired on your day off, man?
Feels like an episode of When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. T, man, you got any thoughts on this Paul Pierce incident?
I mean, they say he got fired. To me, it just looked like a spectacular quit. You know what I'm saying? Spectacular resignation. You know what I'm saying? You got the fellas, you got the girls, y'all living it up. You on IG Live. I was a little disappointed. He only had about 300. 300 viewers. But I do think it was a fireable offense. You hate to see anybody lose their job, But at the same time, ESPN is owned by Disney. The only way to keep sports alive is through the youth. We can't have a face. Paul Pierce is a on-camera personality. We can't have him live streaming. He's smoking. He's partying. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he's on more than just the weed. Like, I don't know, man. What disappointed me was if this was a young high school or college kid, I would say, all right, they grew up in the internet era. Paul Pierce is not from the internet era. Paul Pierce knows what it's like to exist before internet, dial-up, America Online. Everything isn't to be recorded, man. But you recorded yourself. So to me, I take Paul Pierce to be a reasonably smart guy. I feel like he knew what he was getting himself into, and it was probably about time to go anyway. The fans wasn't feeling him anyway, so why not go out with a bang? And he might have went out with a few bangs, judging by that video.
Well, I believe. Oh man, I believe there was speaking of bangs, I believe there was an offer for him to do an NBA show, like an adult type of NBA show with some dancers. Scruff, I think you dropped that in the chat. I'm gonna let you dive in on that.
Yeah, man. I mean, the way I see it is he can't lose. You know what I'm saying? He kept it real. The truth shall set you free, my friend, and that's exactly what he did, man. I'm proud of him, actually. But there's many things to dissect. I don't know if he intended to do that. I mean, this is the same guy. This is Paul Pierce. This is the same guy that had two phones on top of the other phone, man. He's obviously not that good with technology, man. You know what I'm saying? He's famous. He might have realized the implications of what was happening. Oh, I'm going to go live. If I hit it, whatever. I don't know. He didn't know what he was doing, maybe. Either way, the bed has been made. truth is, no pun intended, but the truth is, he didn't do nothing that no one else wouldn't do. Like, he would have did the same thing anyone else did. The man that probably fired him in ESPN, man, woman, I don't even know who it is. Probably not woman then, maybe, but probably a woman too. But yeah, they wouldn't have done anything that a normal person wouldn't do. You know, what was he doing? He was hanging around strippers. You know, he was smoking. You know what I'm saying? Strippers are athletes too, my friend. It takes a lot of athleticism to go up and down that pole. Don't be disrespectful. But I totally understand ESPN's standpoint. Like, yo, you just going, clean bait with him. I agree with Bryce though. I mean, he probably was already on the chopping block. Because honestly, if they were going to fire him for something, they should have fired him for his terrible takes. But honestly, for this, I see it not as a fireable offense. But trust me, when it comes to being fired, little inside tip: if y'all know me, y'all know I done got fired like 9-10 times, man. And so the pro tip on being fired, man, yeah, organization will cut bait on you in that situation, but you will always land on your feet. Stay true to yourself, man. Paul Pierce, I want to say, for somebody that keeps it real to another, I want to say, hey, man, come over to gas. If you don't want your job firing you because you out here in the video with the strippers and the blunts, that's all good, bro. Pass the blunt, pass the ones, Paul. You can come hang out with me any day, bro. You come on this show, gas, anytime, bro. Holla at me.
Scruff, I think your idea of normal behavior and other people's idea of normal behavior might differ just a little bit. I don't have any personal issues with what Paul Pierce was doing. I think it was just in the comments, man. Why would you record yourself? Like T was saying, like, you're from a generation where you should know, like, you don't even need to do that. I'm kind of thinking, like Scruff was saying too, like, did he do that on purpose? Was my man trying to just send that video to somebody and accidentally hit live? Like, I'm kind of concerned for Paul Pierce and his well-being at that. Maybe he was hitting the blunt a little too hard. Who knows what was in his blunt? Who wrote it for him? That stripper that was throwing up the gang signs. I don't know, but stay blessed, Paul. Stay blessed.
Hey, I got a question.
Maybe he thought he was on Snapchat.
He thought he was on the wrong. He thought he was on the wrong. He was on the wrong service. He's on the wrong.
All these dang acts look the same.
hey, yo, but I got a question, man. What y'all think was the funniest part of the Paul Pierce video? Because I know for me, it was when he was in the comments and he was like, Hey, Maya, you can come too. He was looking at the comments trying to tell the shorty she make her way over there. I mean, my man is shot out right now, bro. What y'all think was the funniest part of, or maybe it was when he was getting the haircut, bro. When he all of a sudden came out with the with the cape for the barber, man. My man's getting a fresh shape up on the IG live, bro. What y'all think was the funniest moment of this Paul Pierce video?
For me, it was just seeing my man chilling with the strippers, just dancing, like he was in the zone. He was in the zone.
Yeah, like the whole thing was funny. Like the whole thing almost was like a spoof of itself, almost. Like you just don't expect to see any of these ESPN guys just living like you would live if you was them, right? But just not on camera. So
living like
the
whole thing
they
was
are. Funny to me, man. The girls giving them massage, one dancing in the back. It was so random. The guy throwing chips, like the chips didn't have no value because you're not in Vegas. So you know what I'm saying? Like she can't really.
You know they had big bread on them chips, boy. That's one thing I'm sure of.
The whole thing was pretty silly, man. But he telling people pull up, like he just I don't know, man. That was Paul Pierce in college again, man, all over again.
Yeah, midlife crisis.
My man living good. My man living good, bro.